Hi everyone, welcome to the Frugal Kitchen. Today I'm making broccoli Alfredo pasta. My thumb there indicated that line on Kroger brand pasta indicates where half of the pasta is located. So if you pour out your pasta up until that point, you will have 8 ounces without having to weigh anything out. That is a trick I learned a few years ago when I was making quite a lot of pasta because I'm Italian. Sorry, I don't know. I do like a lot of pasta though. So I'm gonna cook the pasta first. Basically, I wanted to make this recipe because I was thinking I was gonna make my chicken broccoli Alfredo pasta, but I didn't feel like buying Alfredo sauce. Or what I felt like doing was not having the chicken, honestly. And I said, oh, maybe I can just make it vegan, but not really vegan because I'm totally fine using milk. So I bought a broccoli crown, which I'm now cutting up as the pasta is boiling, or maybe it was right after it boiled, I don't know. And I'm going to make my own Alfredo sauce using a recipe from chocolatecoveredkatie.com, which is a website I've used before for other vegan recipes. So first thing I did was let my 8 ounces of pasta boil, and then I turned it off and I started cutting up the broccoli into bite-sized pieces, really. And then I threw the broccoli in on top of the hot water that was in the pot, and then I might have covered it. I kind of just let it sit there for a while and stirred it, and just made sure that the broccoli got cooked because it's an easy way to steam broccoli, I think, rather than messing with the microwave and potentially dirtying another container. So I had the pot vented, as you can see here, and I left this in the video so you can pay attention to how quickly your cooking can go awry. Like, I didn't even really know until recently that the pot can be moved, like the lid can be moved from the bubbles. So that was awkward and messy. So just keep that in mind. So Chocolate Covered Katie says to start out with 2 cups of your favorite vegan milk or non-dairy creamer. And I just used regular milk because I have it and I didn't want to buy something extra. And I'm not vegan. I just want to lower my cholesterol, and the milk's not that high in cholesterol. Then she says to either add 3.5 tablespoons of cornstarch or 5 tablespoons of flour. And I was about to add the cornstarch, and then I thought, well, I don't have a problem with flour, and I know it's really good at making sauces thicker, so I'm going to just do the flour. But it looks like I misread, and I think I only did 3 tablespoons of flour instead of 5 because the cornstarch had a smaller quantity. Half a tablespoon is 1.5 teaspoons, just so you know. So that's 3 half teaspoons and 3 tablespoons of flour is what I used. And then you sort of whisk it all together. You're going to want to make sure that your boiling is low, the heat is on low, medium low, and that you kind of stir it up enough. It should thicken after a few minutes. You may want to keep a timer on in case you're like me and you like run back and forth between other rooms while you're cooking. But this should work the same with any kind of vegan milk. I have been told coconut milk works great for pasta sauces. I think even almond milk, I have drunk that in the past. I think that would work as long as it's not the kind that has vanilla in it, because I'm not sure how that would taste on, like savory food. I think I've even had soy milk, and that might work as well. But again, anything that will thicken should be good for this vegan-ish Alfredo recipe. So I don't know if you can see this really, but it is the pot boiling. I know when I was a kid, people used to say you can't, you can't watch a pot boil; it won't work. And I think that's because humans just don't have patience. Because your camera obviously can watch it boil, and I think that sometimes it's interesting to watch a fast motion, boring thing on the video. So when it boils, it also gets a little bit thicker. So you do want it to do that. It's good to not have it too high because sometimes when the heat is high, the steam evaporates too much from what you're cooking and it kind of messes it up. So let it boil, let it stir on sort of a lowish medium heat. As long as you've got a slow rolling boil or a slow steady boil, you should be good. And again, all that I've added in here so far has been the flour and the milk. If you're enjoying this idea and this video, please like, share, and subscribe so that we can help more people eat healthier. My whole thing is healthy meals that don't cost an arm and a leg. I know people have been complaining about the cost of groceries. I don't have extra people to feed in my house. My husband mainly buys all his food himself because all he typically eats are raw vegetables and hummus. And I will buy ingredients to make all this stuff. But lately I've been spending less than $1,000 a month on groceries. And I know part of that is because I probably don't eat as much as the regular average American. I also eat healthier than average Americans, and I waste a lot less food than average Americans. I basically throw away nothing. Nothing ever goes bad in my house. I don't know if you saw the last time I made pasta that was chickpea pasta, and it didn't work out so great. I ate that mushy chickpea pasta, by the way, after it had turned into mush. I did eat it. So nothing goes bad in my house, nothing goes to waste. 2 tablespoons of oil, which also I think helps thicken roux. You may also notice that I never make breakfasts in these videos, and that's because a few years ago I decided to stop eating breakfast. It was mainly because all the breakfast foods that exist are full of cholesterol or carbs, and both of those things were trying to kill me. So I decided I didn't need to eat. If I get hungry, I eat a handful of trail mix, and then I'm good till lunch. I typically only get hungry around 10 o'clock when I'm working, and then 2 hours later is lunchtime, so I don't have to wait that long. So yeah, I don't eat breakfast, so that does save some money. But when I did eat breakfast, I mostly ate a banana or a banana muffin or one of those Nutri-Grain bars, something like that. So it still didn't spend that much on breakfast. I do remember my husband used to cook breakfast like it was an event on the weekends, and he's probably spent a lot on that, but still, you can eat breakfast for cheap. So then we're going to add 6 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. If you have vegan Parmesan, this is what you'd be adding instead, but I have to make my vegan Parmesan, and the version I make involves cashews. And this is very specifically a nut-free recipe as well. So it's vegan if you don't use the cow's milk, and then nut-free, which is a plus for people with allergies who are also vegan. To make it easier on myself, I did 3 tablespoons and then stirred a bit and then did 3 more tablespoons. One other reason I wanted to make this is because I'm really into, I don't really know what it's called, but it's like, I suppose it's cleaning out your kitchen or cleaning out your pantry cooking, but there's got to be a catchier name for this. But I don't like having to buy a bunch of ingredients. So I kind of like making a bunch of different stuff with, say, the same 100 ingredients. And this recipe, if you didn't have Alfredo sauce and you were like, crap, I have pasta, I have frozen veggies, what am I going to do? And if the frozen veggies were broccoli. I mean, I guess you could probably put other veggies in here. I have frozen peas right now. Maybe I should try that. But you can make this with stuff you pretty much already have, unless you don't have nutritional yeast. But if you eat vegan, you probably have nutritional yeast lying around. I did, and I'm not vegan, so I had the dry milk lying around, and I was like, great. Personally, all I need to do is buy the broccoli. So it cost me like 79 cents out of pocket, I suppose, to make this. Probably about $2 if I'm gonna guess on the pasta regular price. $2 for the whole meal. Go ahead and add some salt and pepper to taste. And I'm pretty sure I added a bunch of Cajun seasoning. Oh, I straight up added cayenne. Sometimes I won't add the Cajun seasoning mix I have if I think I have too much salt in a recipe because there's quite a lot of salt in that. So I must have grabbed cayenne for that reason. But you do want some spices in this. So in this shot, I'm demonstrating how thick the sauce has gotten. You can sort of see that when you drag the spoon across that it doesn't immediately, it kind of stays parted like the Red Sea. It doesn't immediately go back into the void of where your spoon was. That's an indication that's thick enough. Obviously, pouring it from the spoon is an indication. And here is the broccoli and pasta, nice and steamed. I had drained it into the sink and just left it in there while I was making the Alfredo sauce. And after I had this particular plate, I stored the Alfredo and the pasta in the same container because I always have this fear I'm going to run out of the sauce. And I'm glad I did that because I learned that I needed to double the sauce recipe for this. I think this recipe might be good if you just have pasta without broccoli and other stuff in it. It should cover all the pasta pretty well. But I wanted it a little bit saucier and creamier, I suppose. And I added extra creamy sauce on this one, but then once I combined the pasta and the sauce, I realized there wasn't quite enough sauce, so I should have doubled it or maybe 1.5 times the original quantity to get the right amount for this amount of pasta and broccoli. And I dropped a broccoli onto the floor, and I'm going to eat it anyway because I don't know if you heard me earlier, I'm not lying. I do not waste food. I wasn't always like that. When I was a little kid, I threw away food all the time. To me, there was no point eating food if you were full. Like, what the hell, just to get fat? No, I'm not going to do that. And it's hard when you're a little kid to, keep eating when you're full. That's difficult. So I did waste a lot of food when I was a kid, but I think I've more than made up for it now. This recipe was great. I really hope you enjoyed it. Happy eating, everyone.